Welcome everyone. So this is Vikas Bansal from the second batch of Planet I, as we call it in our times, right? It's a wonderful feeling to be talking to all of you.
Thank you so much. And welcome, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. How you went into an IIM, because you started your book by talking about how your dream was to get into an IIM. And so we can begin with that because you've talked about how you prepared for an IIM. You gave up an admission in MDI Gurgaon when you made the first attempt. So if you can help us out with that journey, how was it for you?
I talk about this aspect in my book as well, and most of us talk about something called a dream. You don't talk about a dream every other day. You don't have a new dream every other day or every other week. So you have some of those big dreams, and those literally consume you. Wherein most of us have seen that advertisement. I don't know, you were pretty young, Yash and Gargi at that point in time, but there was a famous ad run by Pepsi about 10-15 years back, in which you had Sachin Tendulkar
and the other cricket members as well.
You eat cricket, you sleep cricket, something like that.
Yes.
That's what a dream is. So you live your dream day in and day out. That's what the dream is. And this was the biggest dream of my life at that point in time. As I told you, I never thought about getting into an MBA college till about the second year of my engineering. But when I got serious, I knew it had to be an IIM and nothing else. And that point in time, there were less than 1,000 seats. And it was still pretty competitive because we had more than 1 lakh students applying for these CAT examinations way back in 96, 97 as well. So it was pretty competitive. And I got through. I mean, I had a couple of calls in my final year, and IIM Kolkata and IIM Lucknow were the two prominent ones. I couldn't get through to any of these colleges, but I made it to MDI Gurgaon. Now, MDI was a pretty decent institute even at that point in time. No undermining their importance. When I say I let go of that opportunity, I'm not saying that was an inferior institution, but I don't know if I wanted that IIM tag or what was it. You become obsessed with something, and that thought of getting into an IIM was more of an obsession, or what you call a dream, right? So it was a tough one, and many people come back to me and ask me that, because how could you make that decision? What if you had not succeeded? I said, yeah, obviously I didn't make it the next time as well. I mean, I couldn't get a single interview call in my second CAT attempt. And then I gave the third attempt. And in my third attempt, I only had one call, which was IIM Indore. It was again like make it or break it, and I could make it. Now, somebody actually happened to ask me, because what if you had not made it on the third attempt? I was very clear. I would have tried a fourth time.
Correct.
And I again use that analogy in my book, wherein I talk about there are moments in your life. Now, this doesn't happen every year. So yes, Gargi, this will not happen every month or every year. But there are certain moments of time in your life when you're in a zone called a dream zone. I call that a dream zone. When everything seems possible and you're not willing to settle for anything less in life. Now, again, I'm saying that doesn't happen every month or every year of your life. But when it happens, you know that you are not going to settle for anything less in life. So I was possibly passing through that phase. So I was very clear, if I didn't make it the third time, I would have written the exam. But now, after 20 years, when I look back on my life, I may not have the guts to refuse an MBA admission. But that was a different zone I was in. So this was a journey, and so I mean, you're bound to achieve certain things in which.
Yes, sir. We're very glad that you got into IIM Indore and we have you as an alumni now.
Yeah, definitely. I guess that you were a Fin student and were too much into academics as well.
I was always a good student, I would tell you. So it was a mix of marketing and finance. So
okay.
I had taken up certain finance subjects for me to understand businesses much more than what a normal marketing or a salesperson would do. I was very clear I never want to be in a treasury or so-called investment banking kind of a role.
Okay.
Right? But I want to be clear about the basic financial aspects. So took up a balance of finance and marketing subjects. So always a good student. When I say a good student, I'm not saying the top of the league. But yes, let's say top 5-7 students, and out of a batch of 37, we were a batch of 37. So top 5-7 was good enough at that point in time, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Which means in your current batch size, I believe the current batch size has now gone up to about 550,
More than that, 600, sir.
600. So in current context, I would say I was in the top 100. तो जैसे inflation को indexing करते हैं ना, तो आज के indexing top 100 में थे.
Correct.
So a good student, and yes, again, now I always had an interest for public speaking, for some kind of paper presentations, or an opportunity to get out of the college and explore some new avenues. So I remember during our second year, we got n number of opportunities. We visited a lot of colleges. We went to Ahmedabad, we went to Kolkata for their annual fests. I'm sure some of you would have traveled.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Right. So we got that opportunity, and yes, we were about 5 or 7 of us who were really keen exploring those opportunities.
So you have
Again, you want to ask about, sir's corporate journey.
Corporate experience, yeah. So, sir, you have more than 20 years of experience in the corporate sector. So how did you combine your love for public speaking or your wish to be an entrepreneur with your corporate job? Like, how did you reconcile these two dreams together?
Also, just adding on one point, a lot of the students who are graduating right now from top B schools have this thought that probably we'll gain some work experience in a top consulting firm, so on and so forth, and then probably, let's say, 4 to 5 years down the line, we'll start something of our own. So was that or a similar thought was also in your mind, or how was you all about the entrepreneurial journey?
So I wouldn't say I harbored any ambitions of being an entrepreneur in the very first 2 or 3 years. I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
So first 5 or 10 years of my life, I was basically focused on earning some good money.
Correct.
Right? Which, and you enjoy the small comforts of your life. So that was it in the early years of my life. Now, when I look back at some of your, let's say some of your colleagues, who, let's say, so again, Yash, let's say you ventured into consulting as of now. So if I were to look back on my tenure, so I was very clear, I never wanted to be in consulting right from day one. Again, there's nothing right or wrong. But luckily, I started off in sales.
Okay.
And I believe that's really paid off in the long run. I had a 2-year stint in sales right after my engineering, before my MBA stint. And even after my MBA, so I spent about a year and a half in product management, and then again got an opportunity to move back into sales. I spent about 5 years in sales. And when I talk about sales, I've been in enterprise sales, in channel sales, in direct selling, and also in retail sales. So if I look back at all those experiences, and once you now start off on your own, I believe those sales experiences help
comes
you.
in a lot more handy. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
A lot more handy, and you actually have that on-ground experience. So yes, so let's say the day you start off something of your own, you will again be a salesman.
Correct, of course.
Correct.
Right? Selling is the first thing that you need to do. You might have a great product, a great service, but unless and until you're able to sell that product, you are not going to make any money. Ultimately, every entrepreneur is a salesman.
Correct.
True.
So having worked in sales for about 5, 6, 7 years of my life, and that too in different genres of sales. So I believe I lost that fear of rejection, which is again very important as you start something of your own. Because when I look back at most of my engineering colleagues who've had a pretty decent life in whichever software company they've been, let's say, so I am an electronics and communication engineer, and more than 90% of my batch would be decently placed in a software organization as of date. Now, if I talk to any of them on starting something new, they have not faced any rejection in their life till date. So that's pretty tough for them. So I believe that sales experience came in handy, and then again, nothing right or wrong, but I decided that I will not specialize in a particular domain. So when I say specialize, you come across people who are only, let's say, into consulting for their life. Some people who are only into sales their entire life. Some people only into branding their entire life, or into product management for their entire life. So again, I'm saying nothing right or wrong, but I decided that I will not be limiting myself to a particular domain for my life.
Right. So you were interested in public speaking. You were interested in writing a book. So how did that journey come about towards writing a book? Because a lot of us have this thought that we want to write a book. How did you decide between fiction, non-fiction? How did you decide, "Ki, okay, this is what I want to write about"? Because a lot of people have sent in questions asking about the fact that sometimes in a particular genre, something that you want to talk about has already been talked about. And you've talked about this in your book as well. So if you could walk us through that aspect of writing a book.
Also, just adding one small point, a personal question was that whether book writing or writing in general is for everyone or not. So
Hmm.
let us say that I might also decide to, a couple of years down the line, want to write something. How should one go about it? That, whether is it for everyone? Because a lot of us wants to write actually, but don't know, how to take this forward.
Sure. So, a couple of questions, I believe, what both of
Yeah.
you asked me. So, now, first
Hmm.
of all, again, I'm being very honest. I didn't have a dream of becoming an author. If someone were to ask me on 31st of December 2019, would you be an author one day? I would have said, yes, possibly one day.
Hmm.
So, so I had something in my mind, but never a big dream of becoming an author. But yes, it again started to crystallize. Let's say January, something happened. In February, I happened to attend an event wherein I had a feeling that yes, I should be writing. So this is something which gradually happened, and once I was clear on the fact that I had to write, then obviously I would say the lockdown really helped.
Hmm.
You might have heard about authors. They when they need to write a book, they actually impose the lockdown on
Yeah,
themselves.
correct.
They go into isolation and
Go
then
into
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
isolation,
yeah.
go into isolation.
Hmm.
They cut themselves off from the family because you need to really concentrate. Now, I was lucky enough; I didn't have to do anything.
Hmm.
Our Prime Minister ensured that I was able to have a free time. So
Hmm.
I believe the lockdown helped. So everything happened as per what it had to. So February, I
Hmm.
attended an event wherein I met a couple of decent speakers, some speakers from even outside India,
Hmm.
and all of them were authors. So I spoke to some of them personally, and they said that it's obviously good. It helps you to crystallize your thoughts. So
Hmm.
it's not just that you need to have a book as a visiting card. That's not the idea. But
Hmm.
a book will help you in your sessions. It will help you in crystallizing your expressions, thoughts, ideas. So that's
Hmm.
what the idea of a book is. So obviously I was inclined towards writing a book, and then the lockdown happened. So
Hmm.
that was as far as writing the book is concerned. Now, Gabby, you had a few questions in terms of a topic, and then Yash, you had a question of
Yes,
in
sir.
terms of who could be thinking of writing a book, or is it for
Hmm.
everyone?
Hmm.
See, I would say anybody watching this session today can write a book. Publishing has become really easy. But again, publishing is not the only thing. You need to ensure that people are able to read the book.
Correct.
Hmm. Correct.
Right? So writing and publishing is easy, but then you need to ensure that people are able to read the book. And they will read the book because of two reasons. And one reason is obviously the first few people may read the book because of their acquaintance or the friend circle,
Hmm.
True.
but the masses will pick up only once you have some good word of mouth, and that good word of mouth will come in from the content or the structure.
Hmm. So, sir, you've talked about this point of having 25,000 days in a life.
Right?
So, yeah, so you were just talking about how we don't think about these things in our daily life. So, if you could expand on how you decided to put this into your book so that people understand, ki, okay, what is the immediacy of achieving a dream or thinking of something that you want to do and then implementing it.
So the reason I mentioned about that, so again, when I speak about 25,000 days or the average life expectancy in India, which is close to 70 years,
Hmm.
so think of it in both the aspects. If I now today I'm talking to a relatively younger audience, and especially in your age group, Yash, Gandhi, for you people, so it's a long innings. Not saying that I am through with my innings, but for you it's a long innings. So when
Hmm.
I speak about 70 years, so let's say you only through with about 25 years of your life. Even with average life expectancy, you still have
Hmm.
about two-thirds of your life,
Hmm.
which is there with you. So life is not a sprint. This is what I mentioned.
Hmm.
And this is what I have always believed in. So life is not a sprint for the next 5 or 10 years.
Hmm.
So it's always very tempting or fascinating to be thinking about those unicorn clubs and obviously those eight-figure salaries when you graduate from an institute. That's good. because if you have a goal, that's something that drives you. That's pretty good. But what I mean by a marathon is you should not be over with your life in the next 10 years.
Hmm.
Many times people only have their goals for the next 5 or 10 years. And once they're done with their goals, they don't have any meaning left in their life. So I've seen people by the age of 30, 35, they've achieved what they wanted to,
Hmm.
and they have nothing else to look forward to. So when I talk about 25,000 days for your generation, I'm talking about, do you have a goal for the next 50 years? Or are you only thinking about the next 5 years? Buying the next big apartment, buying the next big car, having that
Hmm.
1 crore salary. Is that it for the next 5 years? What after that? And similarly, for these 25,000 days, when I talk about people in my age group,
Hmm.
which is obviously a generation apart from yours, so I again talk about what are people planning to do in their second innings.
Hmm.
Are they only focused about retiring at the age of 55 or 54?
Hmm.
Or are they thinking beyond that?
Hmm.
And you can only be living a happy life if you're doing what you're enjoying. So I'm not saying, I mean, it's too early for all of you.
What things we should care about in writing, which makes our book more preferred in a particular genre? I think we've touched upon that as well. Ki suppose I'm writing a motivational book, there are a good amount of books that are already available with big authors. What should we do apart from just writing good content? How do you differentiate yourself in that particular genre?
Now, I definitely have had this question multiple times come up through some of my friends also in the last 15 days.
Hmm.
See, it's again about being yourself. You really can't be somebody like somebody else, or you can't be differentiating from somebody else. So, if so, you can't be. So, as a reader,
Hmm.
it's definitely not possible for you to have read across 100 different authors in the same genre.
Hmm.
Because only if you've read the 100 top best-selling authors in the genre can you start differentiating from them,
Yes.
right? So it's not practically possible to be reading 100 authors.
Hmm.
So ultimately, it will reflect on the way you want to talk about or express your ideas.
Correct.
So I believe ultimately it will be the way you express yourself.
Hmm.
And if people like the way you express yourself, they will buy into your books. But if you start copying somebody else's expressions or ideas, first of all, you will end up in that risk of being, let's say, caught up in that plagiarism act. So
Okay.
I wanted to let my expressions flow the way they were,
Hmm.
not trying to please somebody else.
Understood.
So, very simple answer, just express it the way you are. And some people in the world will definitely love the way you express.
So,
Just one last question
yeah.
from me personally, Vikasa. Any tips or advices for all the budding writers who want to write and or probably even are writing right now, but probably are writing small pieces or snippets, so on and so forth. How did you, not being a traditional writer, being a corporate guy, foraying into your entrepreneur world, decided one day that you made that decision that probably I would going to write that books? Because when you actually write that book, it do sound like it's a lot of job. So probably from that angle, any tips or advices to all the budding janta from I am Indore?
See, I had never even written a blog till about 4 months back. And
Correct.
I
Hmm.
had never written any article till about 4 months back.
Hmm.
So I believe these two aspects also came in handy because many people in your generation are writing a lot of articles or so-called blogs
Yes.
pretty
Hmm.
regularly.
Even
Hmm.
LinkedIn posts for
Yeah,
that matter.
LinkedIn.
I really wouldn't count a LinkedIn post because a LinkedIn post is hardly about 150, 200 words. Or let's
Correct.
Hmm.
at max is about 250 words. So
Hmm.
on an average about 200 words. That's not really a piece of writing. 200 words is not really a piece of writing.
Correct.
Hmm.
But if you're definitely writing a LinkedIn article, which is about on average about 700 words, that's the minimum writing which I would classify. Or even if you're writing a blog, which is again minimum of 500 words. So
Understood.
many of you are already writing blogs and articles. So I had never written a blog and an article till about 4 months back. So I believe that also helped me because I was clear that I have to write a couple of thousand words and not a few hundred words.
Hmm.
Now, so for all the people who are already writing some of these blogs or articles, believe me, it's much more easier for you than it was for me. I'm being very honest. I had never ever written a blog or an article.
Hmm.
So, see, again, just narrow down on the theme that you're very passionate about, that you strongly feel from within.
Hmm.
That could be anything. That could be about cooking, that could be about playing poker, that could be about gaming, anything which is very close to you.
Hmm.
Don't look out for a topic which will sell in the market. Believe me, everything sells. If you've done it with the right intention, everything sells in the market. So find out that theme which resonates with you internally.
Hmm.
Understood.
I think by building on Yash's point, I think this is talking about finding your voice or trying to write what is true and authentic to you. Basically, just start doing it.
Start doing it a few hours every day and use technology to your advantage.
Sir, thank you so much for having this insightful discussion with us
Thank you.
and
Yeah.
looking
Thank
forward
you
to
again, sir.
yeah.
And thank you,
Thank you,
Kali.
Kali.
Thank you
Thank you,
once
Yash.
again
Thank
from the
you.
whole Delhi team. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.